Right. Okay. Hello and welcome to another video. I want to talk about smartphone performance. We've already done a video about smartphone performance, and I believe you should see that one first before seeing this one. Although that one was more of a explainer, a me to you kind of video where I wanted to let people understand what performance is first without going into the technical mumbo jumbo. This is the one for the technical mumbo jumbo. Let's get started. The technical aspects of smartphone performance 2. Let's just put it like that. Let's get started. Okay, so smartphone performance, right? Now, in the last video, I said we could define smartphone performance as how well it does the stuff that we expect it to do. Stuff like apps, games, those productivity apps, Microsoft, Google, Zoom, right? Google Meets, and then Zoom, and Skype, perhaps, Microsoft Skype, and social media and camera performance, and all the stuff. Now, all of this stuff I've mentioned are tied to a singular part of the phone, and that is called the SoC. So whenever you're going out to buy your next smartphone, you should have this in mind, that you should be checking for the SoC, because the SoC is key. In fact, should I use the word keyness? The importance of the SoC to your smartphone performance can never be overestimated. You cannot. There is no way to overestimate it. It can never be overestimated. It's very important that we know this, that we understand this, and that we, inculcate it into ourselves, into our being, so that when next you get a smartphone, and instead of so you see some people, they make these arguments and they go on, guy, that phone, see this what that phone if you do, and what processor is in it so I can gauge? I don't know, but the phone good, the phone they do things passes your own self. Okay, what's the name of the phone? So phone, and I'm gonna check and I'll be like, oh, so that's why it can do these things that it can do. The processor, the SoC on board. That's why. So it will give you an idea. So again, something that somebody has told me is that I give too much information away. I drop too much information away, that it doesn't really help. But I believe I will find my crowd. I would find my people, and my people will find me. So I know there are some YouTubers who believe that they don't want to drop all this key information because they want people to come and rely on their review by review, right? I don't think that way. I believe in giving you the tools to be able to understand this stuff, so that when you come to me, we can then discuss on an even footing, instead of me being here and you being here in terms of this stuff. I want us to be, like this. It's even possible that I can be somewhere here and I'll get information from you, as opposed to me being here all the time. It's not. I want people to grow. That's why I wouldn't have this channel in the first place. That's why it's the Inquisitive Universe. We are a universe of people. One person cannot be an island. There are times when I'd blunder, I'd make a mistake, and somebody will call me to it, and I'd be like, oh, thank you. And that's what our Telegram is all about. Sorry, I'm digressing now. Let's continue. When you pick up a new smartphone, or you want to buy a new smartphone, or somebody tells you about a smartphone and you want to be able to gauge the performance, the first thing you're going to be looking at is the SoC. Now, I'm going to give you two very easy ways to do this. One is simpler than the other, obviously. One of them is a shortcut. The other one is more detailed. Now, I'm going to start with the more detailed one first. Very key. I'm going to start with the more detailed one first. It's very important that you understand the details, because it will help you it will help you understand the shortcut better. Now, when you pick up any smartphone and then you look for the SoC is mostly one of the key parts that manufacturers will try to advertise to get your attention. Now, if they're not advertising the SoC to get your attention, it means they don't want you to care about it. It means they are hiding something, and it means that the processor or the SoC on board is not up to scratch, it's not up to par, and you probably shouldn't be buying that phone from them. Comprende? Yeah. So let's continue. Now, when you check for the SoC, you're going to see a bunch of stuff, a bunch of very confusing stuff, and maybe possibly in the next video I'm going to go into details on how to read and compare smartphone SoCs, or maybe how to read smartphone SoCs before moving on to how to compare smartphone SoCs. But reading and comparing, I think those are two key things that we should probably put together. I don't know, but let me know what you think in the comments. Right, so let's move on. When you get there, you're going to see a bunch of stuff. The very first thing, one of the very first things you see is the CPUs. Yes, there are CPUs inside the processor. CPU is the brain of the smartphone. I keep telling people that smartphones are computers that can make calls. So you see CPUs there. On a lot of phones, it's 8. On newer phones, you could see 9. I think the Huawei Kirin 9000S has around 12. It's debatable. We don't really know yet. And Tutu believes that it has 12 CPUs, but Geekbench believes that it has 8 CPUs, and it's using multi-threading to get to 12 cores. But that one is messy, so let's leave that one aside. You'd see the CPUs, and the CPU cores are what's largely responsible for the performance. The CPU cores. Then if you move on from the CPU cores, you see the GPU, that's for the graphics, for the games. You really don't have to bother yourself much with that one, because the quality of the CPUs on board is what will determine the quality of the GPU that is going to be added. There's no two ways about it. Then you see the ISP for image processing. It's usually paired with a machine learning AI block, NPU, that's what they call it. Again, the quality of the CPU cores will determine the quality of the AI or machine learning unit that's on board. No two ways about that. Then you see the one for display. Display will tell you the quality of the display. IC would tell you the quality of displays that the SoC can drive. Can it drive a 720p display? Can it drive a 1080p display? Can it drive a 4K display? It's all dependent on the CPU cores on board. This is why I say the CPU cores are very key. The importance cannot be overstated, right? Because they are what drives the performance or what the phone can do. So now let's come back now to how to pick. Now remember, in the last video I talked about entry level, budget, lower mid-range, standard mid-range, upper mid-range, premium mid-range, and then flagship and flagship killer. So the CPU cores on board have a very, very important story to tell you. Now, if you pick up any smartphone and you see Cortex A53 CPUs and Cortex A55 CPUs, what that tells you is that SoC is entry level and the performance is going to be weak. You don't even need to. If you can just enter any, like get on Google and then enter any SoC, and then you check and then you see CPU cores, Cortex A53 or Cortex A55. What that tells you is that if you just check all through and you see A53, A55, A55, it's not good enough. You should ideally, unless you're an aged person who doesn't really care, or you're a business person, or you're looking for a second phone and you don't really care about doing all this stuff that people are doing with their phones. You just want a phone that will let you make calls and then let you WhatsApp your friends. Now you can then be thinking of A53, A55. But if you want to play games, you want to take pictures, you want to do all the social media stuff, you even want to be on YouTube as I'm sitting down here recording with my phone, then anything A53 and A55, you want to avoid them and put them to the side. So if you've done that, we're going to then move on to the budget category. And that's where you then see, if you check on a budget phone, or if you check a phone, you check the processor, and then you see Cortex A73, about 4 of them, or Cortex A75, about 2 of them, you are in the budget / lower mid-range category. This is where you now start to enjoy Android, enjoy your smartphone. This is where you start to enjoy it, because A73 and A75 CPUs are much more powerful than what the A53 and A55 can do. Now, if you look at it very well, you'll see most of the time the A73s and the A75s are usually paired with A53s and A55s. Now, the A73s and A75s are decently powerful, but you cannot have them running all the time, because if these CPUs are running, you'll use your phone battery in less than an hour or 2, or 2 hours, 3 hours maximum. So that's why when you're not doing anything heavy with your phone, they are paired with A53 and A55. Those ones, they are weak processors, they don't consume battery, they are cool, but they can only do the minor stuff, making calls, WhatsApp, Facebook Lite and stuff. So when you want to do something heavy with your phone, the A73 CPUs will kick in, and then the A75s will kick in. And so if you check a phone and then you see A73, A75, that means you are in the budget, lower mid-range category of things. That's the area where you find yourself. And this is where you can then start to see, you can then play games at mid settings and so on and so forth. I think I explained all of that in the last video. You should probably check that out. So that's where you now get to see like decent performance. And then that's when the quality of the GPU goes up, the quality of the ISP goes up, the quality quality of the modem for network connection and then internet connection goes up as well. Display driver goes up as well, so you can then be able to have access to 720p 1080p displays like that. So we then move on to, if you check, let's move on now to, if you check the phone for example, and then you see A76 CPU cores, either 2 or 4, then you are now in standard mid-range and borderline upper mid-range territory. Standard mid-range and borderline upper mid-range territory. So that's what you find if you see A76 CPU cores. Now this one is one area where this is the level I am currently in right now. I don't know, I'll probably go up soon, hopefully, but this is where you can then play most games at mid to high settings, but I mostly keep it at mid settings because, you know, I don't want to overburden my processor. I know my limits, I'm keeping it there. I want my phone to last longer. Then you now start to see very decent GPU, the Adreno 618s and above, the Mali G76 MP4, I think there's also Mali G57 MC2 thereabouts. The GPU, like the quality of the GPU from the entry level to the budget and lower mid-range to the upper standard mid-range and upper mid-range, it goes higher, as well as other parameters inside the SoC. So when you see Cortex A78, when you check a phone and then you check the processor and you see Cortex A78, what that tells you is that you are now in the realms of the premium mid-range. That's like the very top of the mid-range, the very top. This is where you cannot have phones that will give you something that is akin, not exactly, but it's akin to, you know, getting close to flagship performance, and you are going to really enjoy performance on this level. However, entry level, you can get it for around basically say less than 80k, and budgets and lower mid-range around 100 to 120k, standard mid-range 170k lower. If you start going to the premium mid-range side of things, start getting ready to cough up 200k and above, adjusting for inflation. So when you live there and then you move up and then you see processors with Cortex X1, Cortex X2, Cortex X3, Cortex X4, you are in the flagship killer, flagship territory. This is where you get the best performance, the best of everything, right? So that's the technical mumbo jumbo of it. However, if you don't want to go through the process of, you know, checking the name of the phone, checking the processor, and then looking through the processor specs to see the type of CPU cores that are there, you can then simply use a cheat sheet. A cheat sheet. Bro, that was hard to pronounce. I'm serious. That was hard to pronounce. Now, you can simply just Google top 100 smartphone processors, top 100 smartphone SoCs. I have a list, but I think there's also a list from other companies. Like I don't want to help my competitors here. Come and check my own processor list. Top 100 smartphone SoCs, Inquisitive Universe, and then you see the top list of 100 smartphones according to their performance. And that's my from me to you, that's the cheat sheet. You know, you can use that one to cheat. Just check there and look at, you know, oh, this processor is here, this processor, this one here is better than this one here. No need to stress yourself. So that's the second method. Okay, so when you know this, then you can then be able to find out, like, I will make it easier. I put it there: flagship, mid-range, upper mid-range, and so on and so forth. So it will help you understand where the level of performance is. That's how to understand the performance. So when you pick up a smartphone and then you see that it has this processor, you say, oh, it's going to give me this level of performance, as opposed to just taking a company's word for it or taking a YouTuber's word for it. Believe me, this knowledge is out there. It's objective. You can check it independent of me. You can fact check it. You can fact check it anywhere. You don't have to even, you can go anywhere and ask anybody and check it. It's out there. The information is out there. My people don't want to check for stuff. That's why I'm here. I'm here to drum it into your ears that you must understand this stuff. You have to save you money, and it will rescue you from the clutches of these talking heads who are basically advertisers for unscrupulous companies who are looking for every way to shortchange you. Okay, so now we've come to the end of this video, the technical stuff on smartphone performance. Tell me what you think, and if I should go on, you know, with how to read smartphone SoCs and then how to compare them. I think that's a very, very important topic that you would like to know how to do by yourself, independent of, you don't have to go and ask anybody. You can be the guy that people will even be coming to ask, say, bro, how far, how to this process and this process, which one better pass? You get which one is better? Could be you. You could be the guy. Personally, I had no idea how these things worked 5 years ago. But now I can confidently sit down without holding any book. My research book is not here. Without holding any book, or without checking anybody's textbook, or without having to scroll the internet and check the situation. I can sit down here and I can comfortably talk to you about these things. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on this video. Thank you very much for coming. As usual, please subscribe, like, share. Subscribe, like, share. Right? Subscribe, like, share. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.